open up August. You know what I mean? Lighten the sense of like comedic instead of like the subject matter. Who knows what's going on in this movie? But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, something about Idris Elba, superhuman
Yeah,
experiments.
yeah.
We'll see. Doesn't really seem like a. It doesn't.
A
It's not
fun
gonna be. It's not
goof
gonna be a
movie. You
car
know?
movie. It seems it's gonna be more action than
Yeah,
cars.
similar to like a Mission Impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. Hobbs and Shaw, as I mentioned, stars Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Jason Statham, and Idris Elba. It's directed by David Leitch, and it comes out August 2nd. All right, moving on to our final trailer overall. It just came out, I believe, today.
Yes.
Okay, and that is for the Pet Sematary reboot. Mike, you are a big horror fan. What did you think about this trailer?
I just watched it a couple minutes ago, and what a big, interesting change this movie's taking from the original source material and the original movie from the, I believe, 80s. I'll check that right now. But instead of the son, Gage gets hit and killed by the truck. You know, iconic scene, iconic character. The daughter is going to be killed, and she will be doing the zombified stalking of her family.
Yeah, this trailer really caught my eye. I really like this the Stephen King universe. They're not connected, but I like the rebooting of the Stephen King uh, books because a lot of his books were made into movies early on. Obviously, there's movies like The Shining that you don't ever want to touch. You kind of want to keep it alone. But I thought it was very successful. Obviously, me and you, Mike, saw it when it came out, and I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
what
that
a great
movie.
movie.
And yeah, this movie seems like
Yeah,
it's in the right vein. From this trailer, I was very creeped out. Me and Mike watched it simultaneously before we started recording, and yeah, there's just some scenes that are just downright creepy, and the imagery and the setting is just eerie, and it doesn't seem like it's too wide scale, but it still fits our definition of a blockbuster because it's mainstream appeal and it's got that I need to go see this right now. It's got that source material to back it up. And yeah, this movie, I mean, the first trailer
yeah.
was so what's going on. This trailer kind of set the groundwork for the story. So, Mike, I got to ask you a question about this because obviously you're more familiar than I am. Did this trailer give too much away?
Yes and no. I feel like
Okay.
if they didn't reveal the change now and they revealed it when people were watching it, you would have some people who enjoyed that. Some people might not have liked it. They'd rather kind of know what they're walking into. I think personally, they kind of gave a little bit too much away right now. This movie doesn't come out until April. So, oh no, April. When does it come out?
It
I think
comes,
April.
yeah, April 5th. You're right.
April 5th. I was looking at the original release date, which was the 21st of April, both the same month. But I don't know. I feel like personally a little too much. I feel like it would have been for me. It would be better to see that new, not a twist because like the same events are going to happen. Just instead of the 3-year-old son, it will be the 9-year-old daughter. Which I mean, it makes more sense. Especially like the movie in the 80s, they definitely relied on using like props to make the kid be like scary. I mean, like a 3-year-old isn't going to be able to do lines that are like horrifying. I mean, in the book, the character he says some terrible, horrible things, not just stabbing people, but psychologically like damning evidence against his family. So I think having an older actress, she's 11, but she's playing a 9-year-old character, not older, but older than 3. She'll be able to like put more emotion in her performance. So I think they changed it because they wanted the movie to be better, because they didn't want it to be this cheesy, come across silly like a 3-year-old having this like crazy zombie voice. Instead, it's going to make more sense.
Yeah. I love that analysis, and that makes a lot of sense for this movie. Some fans are bound to complain. There'll be those people who praise the original as gospel, and they won't want any changes to it. But I like what you said, that they're taking the route that why risk a movie that's going to be mocked for its bad acting when we could just make a simple change and kind of enforce that we won't have that issue of coming off as too cheesy. Yeah, I really like that. The only actor I could have seen fulfilling a 3-year-old role, Jacob Tremblay. He was the boy in Room, and he was also in another movie recently. And he's a very talented actor at a very young age. I don't know exactly how old he is, so I don't know if he could really play.
He is 12. He could not play.
Yeah, he could not do it. But yeah, he's the only actor that comes to mind that could play a young kid. But yeah, the 3-year-old just wouldn't work. While it's easy to do in the book because you don't have to rely on a human
Visuals,
being to play him. But
I mean, in the original '80s movie, I think they made him a little older, and they definitely used some of the special effects kind of similar to what they used in Child's Play, where it was kind of like, having like a little doll being used, like puppetry, and they used like little people in costumes, definitely, instead of the actor, because he's not going to be able to hold a knife.
Yeah, they will not let him. They would have never let him do that on set. Yeah. Any final takeaways, final thoughts on the Pet Sematary trailer?
When I first heard about this, I thought, oh great, another remake. Even though when I first heard about the It remake, I was worried. But I think I have so much faith because of its just amazing success. I think Pet Sematary is also going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. My final thoughts are essentially that I'm excited to see this movie. There's not many horror movies that I prioritize viewing because I admittedly get scared very easily. There are jump scares. There was a jump scare in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse that made me jump, and I don't even know if it was supposed to be a jump scare. I get scared very easily, so I kind of stay away from horror movies. But, I mean, 2 ones we talked about on this show alone, Us and Pet Sematary, they're movies I definitely want to see in theaters. Yeah. So, yeah, when these horror movies kind of have that mainstream blockbuster appeal, it kind of makes them hard to stay away from as much as I don't want to be scared.
I definitely would want to add also, like, being from Stephen King. I mean, he's the king of horror. He has been for years now, and it's really cool to see a lot of his stuff either getting I know he's a lot of TV shows going on right now of stuff he's written, and I think they are actually making he wrote a sequel to The Shining, and I think they're making that sequel into a movie now.
Well, that's cool. If they're doing a sequel to The Shining, I mean, it makes sense if he wrote it. You can.
And they are. Yeah, the book's called Doctor Sleep, and I'm just looking up. There will be.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yes.
All right. With that being said, Pet Sematary stars Jason Clarke, Amy Semmets, and John Lithgow. It's directed by Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer, and it comes out April 5th. Now, Mike, one more thing I want to do before we wrap up today's show. I want to play a little winner and loser. So let's do Super Bowl TV spot winner and Super Bowl TV spot loser. If you want, because I am kind of putting you on the spot, I can go first because I have my personal too, if you want to think it over for a bit.
Yeah, you can go first.
All right, so my winner of the weekend of the Super Bowl TV spots, I am going to go... I don't want to do the easy answer, but I got to go with the TV spot that made me feel the most. That's Avengers Endgame. In just a few shots, I could talk about that TV spot. I could talk about that 30-second TV spot easily for a full show. There was so much stuff to break down. There was that one classic Marvel shot where we've kind of caught on by now that it seemed like there was enough room for another character to be in. Did they digitally edit someone out just to reveal them later in the movie? They did that with Spider-Man in Civil War. They did that with the Maximoff twins in Avengers Age of Ultron to not spoil their turn to good. So there's so much to break down, so much it made me feel. That's great. Mike, if you have your winner, I'll take it. If not, I'll give my loser.
Well, my winner was also Avengers. I don't really think anything else could top that. I mean, everything else isn't. I mean, I've been following the Marvel movies for years, so just to see this somewhat culmination to some storylines is really going to really get me going, especially during the Super Bowl. I was already hyped enough, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. My loser for the weekend is actually a movie that elected to not have a TV spot. My loser for this weekend is Star Wars Episode 9. I think this was a golden opportunity to just have a 30-second teaser. You don't have to even show much. Literally show a lightsaber lighting up and maybe announce the title. I know they want to save a lot of the stuff, a lot of the content for Star Wars Celebration, and maybe they didn't want to release a TV spot if they weren't ready to release the title. But this was a golden opportunity. Star Wars fans are the most divided they've been since the prequels. I would argue the fan base doesn't know, at least with the prequels, they seem to be universally against them. This time we have Star Wars fans in love with The Last Jedi, hating The Last Jedi, not knowing what they want. We're going back to J.J. Abrams. People complained about him making Episode 7 too similar to A New Hope, and then people complained about Episode 8 being too distant from traditional Star Wars. This was the time to get people excited again. Solo did not hit as well as they wanted it to hit, even though I thought it was a really good movie in the end for what it was. This was the time. Release a 30-second TV spot, quick flashes of all the characters we know, maybe just show Kylo Ren's lightsaber lighting up, anything. Show something, show Rey, show Finn, show Poe, anything. 30 seconds, not maybe even 15 seconds. We saw Scary Stories You Tell in the Dark do quick 10-second ads teasing that. Just something. Star Wars Episode 9, I understand I think today we are still 10 months out. It would have been such a golden opportunity just to get fans buzzing, get fans talking, get fans excited, not fans dwelling on the past, like, controversial films. Star Wars Episode 9, in my book, missed the mark. Mike, did you have a loser?
I don't really think anything, like, offended me as much, but if we can pick things that we'd like to have seen, maybe in It Chapter 2. I mean, Pet Sematary came 2 days after the Super Bowl, so, I mean, it's okay to do horror movies around now. I mean, It was a huge movie. It Chapter 2 maybe would be nice to see some stuff from.
Yeah, I know I got a little passionate there, but I was heavily anticipating that Disney would pull the trigger on a Star Wars Episode 9 spot.
You have a good point. I mean, I can... I just literally didn't think about... I haven't thought about Star Wars since you just started talking about
Exactly.
that. I literally have not thought about I only saw The Last Jedi once in theaters. I have the Blu-ray. I have not rewatched that.
I did what I do every December, and that's I see it opening night with my friends, and I saw it the day after Christmas with my uncle, who really got me into Star Wars. So I saw it twice in theaters, but it's been a good over a year since I've seen it, and I kind of don't want to revisit it because of how angry it made me. But exactly, like, you're the exact reason why they should have shown it, because you weren't talking about Star Wars. And
I never hated that movie.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people hate it. It does nothing offensive, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, like, we both are movie fans, and just the fact that you just gave me that you hadn't even thought about Star Wars in so long goes to show that this was the time. Star Wars Celebration is in April. We'll probably get an extensive...
The title, at least.
And the title, maybe a full teaser trailer, maybe a minute. But, yeah, I think, in my opinion, this was the time they should have done it. With that being said, we just gave our winners and losers, and I think it is now time to roll credits. All right, we want to thank you guys so much for joining us on today's show. We understand we came a little late, but, again, more content with our tardiness as we got to talk a lot about the Pet Sematary trailer, and I really enjoyed discussing it and gaining more knowledge on it, as Mike knows his horror movies like the back of his hand. So
love me some more.
That was great. Yeah, great show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As I've already said once, be sure to join us next week. We're going to have more movie news to talk. We're getting closer to Oscar season. We'll be sure to break all that good stuff down.
Yeah.
And,
are we going to be picking up movie reviews again?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that soon. I think I have more free time over the weekend. I want to watch a movie in length again. The last movie I saw, I rewatched The Dark Knight on Netflix not too long ago. Maybe a few days ago, but yeah, definitely want to watch a new movie so we can pump one out. I'm liking doing episodes that are exclusively news and trailer related, so maybe we'll do like 15-minute, 30-minute shorts reviewing old movies we missed, all that good stuff. All right, with that being said, you can find the podcast on Twitter at BlockBreakPod. Tweet us your questions, comments, concerns. We would love to do a mailbag episode, so if you want to drop your questions in the DM or just tweet them to us directly, that would be fantastic. You can find me on all social media platforms at LiamCrowley714.
And you can find me everywhere at MikeGillis25.
All right, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next week.